BYD shares fell hard. Warren Buffett hands to reduce holdings. The latest response is here. BYD shares, 1211. Hong Kong, 225 million shares, were transferred to Citibank on July the 11th. According to HKEX-CCASS data, market participants speculate from the size of the transfer that the shares may have come from Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, NYSE Berkshire. The number of shares Berkshire Hathaway Energy holds in BYD is about that level. Judging from the data as of November 8, 2021. In response to the above rumors, a brokerage China reporter called BYD as an investor, and the company's securities department responded. The data we see now is that Warren Buffett's holdings are currently unchanged. It has a very large shareholding, and if it involves a change in shares, it will certainly be disclosed. But there are also industry analysis. There is the possibility that first, the reduction process has not yet been completed, so the company has not yet seen the relevant data. Second, Warren Buffett loaned to hedge funds to sell short. It is worth mentioning that this morning, the world's largest asset management company BlackRock said that central banks are trying to moderate inflation under the expected continued volatility in financial markets. It also recommended reducing holdings in the US and European markets, while remaining neutral on emerging market stocks. Yesterday evening, the US market killed again. Global foreign exchange market volatility continues to increase, and commodities are beginning to react to recession expectations. So, is the impact really that big? BYD suddenly plunged. This morning, Hong Kong shares of BYD, Hong Kong, 1211, suddenly fell sharply. The share price fell nearly 11%. At the same time, the share market also followed the sharp decline. A share transfer has caused the market's attention. HKEX-CCASS data showed that BYD shares, 1211, Hong Kong, 225 million shares, were transferred to Citibank on July the 11th. Market participants guessed from the size of the transfer that the shares should come from Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. From the data on November the 8th, 2021, the number of shares held by Berkshire Hathaway Energy in BYD is almost at this level. The entire auto sector has also seen a pullback in the market due to BID's influence. So, in the end, is it Warren Buffett who is reducing his stock holdings? According to media statistics, BID's previous market value has exceeded 1 trillion. The big winner, in addition to Wang Chuanfu, there is also to earn 70 billion Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett spent 2 to 3 billion shares in BYD. The past 14 years Buffett has not sold shares of BYD. Now BID's market value is close to 1 trillion. And Warren Buffett has become a big winner. Warren Buffett has earned Hong Kong $70 billion in BYD. In response to the above rumors, the brokerage China reporter called BYD as an investor, and the company's securities department responded. The data we see now is that Warren Buffett's shareholding is currently unchanged. It has a very large shareholding, and if it involves a change in shares, it will definitely be disclosed. According to the latest data from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, no recent declaration of shareholding increase or decrease by shareholders of more than 5% has been found in the records of BID's major shareholders' equity increase or decrease, including Berkshire Hathaway, which has a 7.73% shareholding ratio. Currently, BYD has become a benchmark company in China's auto industry, according to data released by the Passenger Association. In June, domestic passenger car retail sales were 1.943 million units, up 22.6% year-on-year and 43.5% sequentially, with the sequential growth rate hitting the highest value in the history of the same period in the past 6 years. Among them, June retail sales of 810,000 units of independent brands an increase of 35% year-on-year. The growth rate outperformed the general market. In June, BYD passenger cars, Geely, Chang'an passenger cars, Great Wall sales were 133, 762, 126,595, 11,303, 101,101, 186, up 168.8%, 26%, 37.6%, 0.52% respectively. Cumulative sales in the first half of the year were 641, 350, 61,342, 62,975, 518, 525. Year-on-year rose 314.9%, 3%, 4.61%, -16.12%, respectively. Last weekend in Shenzhen, a BYD 4-second store site sales are very hot. People to see the endless stream of cars. It is understood that the Songdm and other popular models have a delivery time of up to 6 months. And Tang's delivery time is also about 2 to 3 months. It is worth mentioning that Ningde times was also reduced. Recently, Aberdeen Capital Management's funds announced their position data as of the end of June, taking advantage of the rebound in new energy, consumer and internet sectors. Aberdeen has reduced its holdings in related stocks. Among them, China CDF was reduced by 10.86% of its position, with a market value of $173 million at the end of June. Ningde Times was reduced by 14.22% of its position, with a market value of $119 million at the end of June. Tigermd was also reduced by 4.92% of its position, and Midea was the only one of the top 10 long positions, with an increase of 8.98% from the previous year. The world's largest asset management company since short, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, said the central bank is trying to slow inflation under the expectation of continued volatility in financial markets. BlackRock Vice Chairman Philip Hildebrand and his team, in the medium-term outlook report, that growth and inflation stability has ended. The world will face macro volatility and equity risk premium increase in the new scene. Investors should no longer expect stocks and bonds rise at the same time. Goldilocks is not a visible option. The bank currently has a hold rating on European, US and UK equities, and a neutral rating on Japanese, Chinese and emerging market equities based on a deteriorating economic outlook. The outlook on investment-grade debt has been raised based on attractive valuations. And the bank also has an AD rating on UK gilts. The bank also pointed out that fund flows show that investors are still optimistic about this year, even though the US S&P 500 has been in a technical bear market, and the US bond market performance in the first half of the year was the worst in modern history. From the current situation, the foreign exchange market has shown a worse side. The dollar index continues to make new highs, while non-US currencies have plunged. Japanese Finance Minister Shinichi Suzuki said that he will continue to maintain close communication with overseas authorities. If necessary, appropriate measures will be taken on the foreign exchange front. We'll continue to work closely with the Bank of Japan. We'll closely monitor the currency market with a strong sense of urgency.